My name's Jessica Carter. I'm 34 years old, and I live in a quiet neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio, where people still wave to each other when they drive by. I'm the kind of woman who brings extra cupcakes to the PTA meeting and still believes kindness can fix most things. At least, I used to. The night my picture went viral, I was sitting on my couch in my worn-out flannel pajamas, watching an old episode of Grey's Anatomy. My phone started buzzing. First one message, then another, then dozens. I thought something terrible had happened. In a way, something had. When I opened my notifications, my breath just stopped. There it was. My face, frozen mid-blink, mouth open, eyes half shut, turned into a meme. A cruel, disgusting meme. And it was everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, even local WhatsApp groups. The caption under my photo made me feel like I'd been punched in the chest. I couldn't breathe. My friends were tagging me, laughing. People I'd gone to high school with were commenting, and all I could think was, who would do this to me? At first, I thought it had to be a stranger, someone who'd taken my picture without permission. But as I kept looking, I noticed little things: the background of the photo, the angle, the shirt I was wearing. It wasn't random. Whoever posted it knew me. The next morning, I couldn't even take my son to school. I sat in the driveway, shaking, scrolling through the comments, people calling me names, mocking my body, laughing at my try-hard smile, and then I saw it. One small detail that made my stomach drop and my hands go numb. The person who started the meme, the person who'd used my picture to make the internet laugh, was someone I trusted like family. I didn't plan revenge that day. I just wanted an apology. But when I tagged his mom, everything spiraled into something I'll never forget. My name might be Jessica Carter, but most people around here still call me Jess from Maple Lane. That's just how small towns are. Nobody ever really forgets who you used to be. I grew up here, married young, and divorced young too. I have one son, Ethan. He's 10, has my stubborn streak and his dad's sarcastic smile. He's the only reason I ever stayed in this town after the divorce. My ex-husband, Ryan, and I don't hate each other, but we don't exactly get along either. We just coexist. He still lives a few blocks away with his new girlfriend, and because of Ethan, we keep things civil. I never imagined I'd still be tied to his family after everything, but life has a funny way of keeping you close to people you wish you could forget. Ryan's cousin, Tyler, was one of those people. He was 5 years younger than me, charming, goofy, the kind of guy who could make anyone laugh. He'd show up to family cookouts, play football with the kids, fix a leaky faucet when Ryan was too busy. After my divorce, he'd check in on me sometimes. "You good, Jess?" And for a while, I thought of him like a younger brother. Even my ex-mother-in-law, Linda, stayed in touch. She'd drop off soup when Ethan got sick or invite me for Sunday dinners. She always said I was the best thing that ever happened to this family. I believed her. Maybe that's why I never saw what was coming. Looking back, I can remember small moments, jokes that went too far, comments that made me feel a little uncomfortable, but I brushed them off because that's what women do, right? We laugh along to keep the peace. Tyler loved teasing people. It was his thing. He'd prank Ryan, make fun of his friends, post inside jokes online. Everyone thought it was harmless. So when he pointed a camera at me one afternoon at a family barbecue, I didn't think twice. If I had known what that photo would become, I would have walked away. It happened on a warm Saturday in June. One of those picture-perfect family days that end up meaning something completely different once you know how the story turns out. Ryan's mom, Linda, had thrown a barbecue in her backyard. Kids running around, burgers on the grill, country music humming low through the speakers. Everyone was laughing, passing plates of potato salad and ribs, and for once, I felt at peace. I'd spent half the morning baking a cake. It wasn't fancy, just chocolate with too much frosting, but it was Ethan's favorite. I carried it out to the patio, trying to balance the tray and call the kids over. That's when I tripped over a loose garden hose. The cake tilted, my arms flailed, and for a second it must have looked ridiculous, like something out of a slapstick comedy. The cake hit the ground. Everyone laughed, including me at first. Then I heard a phone click. Tyler stood there grinning, phone in his hand. "Oh man, Jess, that was gold," he said. I rolled my eyes, trying to laugh it off. "Delete that, Tyler. I look like a total mess." "Relax," he chuckled. "It's just a photo. You're fine." I didn't think about it again, not until 3 days later. It was lunchtime at work when my coworker, Megan, leaned across her desk holding out her phone. "Jacid, is this you?" I looked at the screen, and my world went quiet. It was that same picture. Me mid-fall, face twisted, arms stretched, frosting on my shirt. Except now, there was a caption written across the top. "When she says she's low maintenance but shows up with emotional baggage and dessert." Underneath, hundreds of laughing emojis. Shares, comments. I felt my face burn. My hands started shaking. I scrolled. People from town were tagging each other. Some I knew. Some I didn't. The post had already been shared over 1,000 times. I didn't even finish my shift. I locked myself in the bathroom and cried until my chest hurt. That night, I messaged Tyler. "Was this you?" I wrote. He replied 2 minutes later. "Chill, Jess. It's just a joke." That word, joke, sat in my throat like poison. And when Ryan told me I was overreacting, something inside me broke. For 2 days, I barely left my house. Every time I opened Facebook, that picture was there. People I hadn't spoken to in years tagging each other, laughing at me. I reported the post, but copies kept popping up. Someone had even turned it into a GIF. I didn't know how to make it stop. I tried calling Tyler. He didn't answer. I tried messaging him again. "Take it down, please." He just sent back a laughing emoji. That's when I realized something I didn't want to admit. He wasn't sorry. He was enjoying it. So I did what I always do when I feel small. I made a plan. That night, after Ethan went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table with a mug of cold coffee and opened my laptop. I started taking screenshots. Every share, every cruel comment, every trace that linked back to Tyler's profile. He wasn't even careful. His username was tagged in the original post, and you could see his reflection in the window behind me in the photo. The next morning, I didn't cry. I didn't shake, I just posted. I uploaded the meme on my own Facebook page with a caption that said, "It's always funny until it's your turn. Sometimes the person laughing the loudest is the one who should be ashamed the most." I didn't name him yet. I wanted him to feel the air tighten before I said his name. Within minutes, comments started rolling in. Friends, coworkers, even neighbors asking, "Jess, what happened?" And who did this? That evening, I added another post, this time with the original photo side by side with his reflection. "When someone you call family thinks humiliation is humor. Tyler, you forgot to crop your reflection." My hands were trembling when I hit post. By midnight, it had spread like wildfire. People were furious, calling him out, tagging his profile, demanding an apology. Tyler deleted the meme, but it was too late. Screenshots were everywhere. Then I saw a notification that made my stomach twist. Linda, his mom, had seen my post. She didn't comment. She didn't message. Just a single scene under my story. That silence was louder than anything else. And in that silence, I realized this was only the beginning. By the next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Tyler had texted me, first angry, then desperate. "You're ruining my life. Jess, take that post down. You don't know what you've started." I stared at the messages for a long time before replying. "You started it." "Tyler, all I did was show people who you really are." He left me on read. Then Ryan called. His tone was cold, rehearsed, the same voice he used during our divorce. "Jess, you've made your point. Just take the post down before this gets worse. Mom's upset. Tyler's embarrassed enough." I could hear Linda in the background, whispering. "Embarrassed?" I said. "He humiliated me in front of the whole town, Ryan. You think a little shame evens that out?" Ryan sighed. "You're being dramatic." And then he hung up. That word again. Dramatic. Overreacting. Sensitive. Every time a woman stands up for herself, it turns into that. By noon, people had started taking sides online. Some said I did the right thing. Others accused me of publicly destroying a young man's reputation. Couldn't believe it. Somehow I had become the villain in a story where he started the fire. Tyler's boss even called Linda after seeing my post. He worked at a local marketing agency, and they didn't find it funny that one of their employees was being accused of cyberbullying a single mom. He got suspended pending review. That night, my phone rang again, Linda this time. Her voice was soft, motherly, but laced with control. "Jess, sweetheart, I know you're hurt. But can we handle this privately?" Tyler's learned his lesson. He didn't mean any harm. I almost laughed. Didn't mean any harm? He turned me into a joke. My son's friends have seen that meme. She sighed, pretending to sound calm. He's family, Jess. We all make mistakes. Be the bigger person. I'd been the bigger person my whole life. When Ryan cheated, when people whispered after the divorce, when Tyler's jokes cut too deep. So this time, I didn't stay silent. I posted a screenshot of Linda's message and tagged her. The caption read, "When mothers protect their sons even when they know he's wrong." The comments exploded, and for the first time, so did the truth. By the next morning, my post had gone completely viral. Over 6,000 shares, hundreds of comments. Some were supportive, women writing, "Thank you for speaking up," but others were cruel, calling me vindictive, attention-seeking. I stopped reading after a while. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Then my phone lit up again. Tyler was live. I hesitated, but curiosity won. I clicked. There he was, sitting in his car, eyes red, voice breaking. He said I'd destroyed him, that I'd taken a joke too far. He cried on camera, saying he was losing his job, that people were threatening him. And for a split second, I almost felt sorry for him, until I remembered what it felt like to scroll through hundreds of people laughing at me. I didn't respond publicly. I stayed quiet, until a message popped up in my inbox that changed everything. It was from a girl named Marissa, someone I barely knew. She wrote, "Jessica, I saw what happened with Tyler. I think you should know, this isn't the first time. He's done this to other women too." Attached were screenshots, group chats, photos. A private meme group Tyler ran with a few friends, all local guys. They were making fun of women from town. Screenshots of girls at the gym, women at the grocery store, even a 15-year-old student from the high school. It was disgusting. Cruel, degrading. I sat frozen, scrolling through the proof. It wasn't just one bad joke. It was a pattern, a sickness disguised as humor. That night, I made one final post. I uploaded the screenshots with the caption, "It wasn't one mistake. It was dozens. This isn't about a meme. It's about respect." And this time, I tagged Linda again. Within hours, it spread even faster. Local news pages picked it up. People started commenting things like, "This is harassment," and "He needs to be held accountable." The next morning, there was a knock on my door. It was Linda. She looked nothing like the woman who used to bring me soup. Her eyes were swollen, her hair messy, her hands trembling as she held her phone out. "Jessica, please," she said, her voice breaking. "He's being investigated. They're talking about pressing charges. Please delete it before this ruins his life." I stared at her, this woman who'd called me family for years, who'd defended her son even when she knew he was wrong. "Linda," I said quietly. "He ruined his own life. The day he chose cruelty over decency." She started crying. Real tears this time, but I didn't move. I wasn't cruel, just done. When she left, I closed the door, locked it, and slid down to the floor. For the first time in weeks, I felt the silence settle around me. Not heavy, not painful, just still. Tyler's account was deleted that night. By morning, his face was gone from the internet, but his damage and my scars stayed. After that night, everything moved fast. The police got involved, not because of me, but because one of the parents from town filed a complaint after seeing her teenage daughter's photo in that group chat. Suddenly, what had started as a meme turned into a potential criminal investigation. Tyler disappeared from social media completely. His job let him go within a week. Rumors said he'd moved to stay with an uncle in another state. I didn't celebrate it. I didn't post about it. I just went quiet. Linda stopped speaking to me. No more calls, no more texts, not even a glance when we crossed paths in the grocery store. She'd look right past me like I was invisible. At first, it hurt. Then it stopped. Maybe she saw too much of her own failure in my eyes. Ryan called one night. His voice was softer than usual. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry," he said. I didn't realize how bad it was. I almost laughed. You never do, Ryan. Not until it's too late. He didn't argue. He just said, "You did the right thing, Jess." And for once, I believed him. I started therapy a few weeks later. I'd thought revenge would make me feel lighter, but it didn't. Not at first. The truth is, I felt hollow. Like I'd burned down the house but still smelled the smoke. My therapist told me that healing isn't about winning. It's about understanding why you fought in the first place. So I started writing about humiliation, silence, and the ways women are told to be nice while people laugh at our pain. I shared one post, then another, and slowly messages started coming in from women all over saying things like, "Your story gave me courage." The same thing happened to me. Thank you for not staying quiet. It wasn't about Tyler anymore. It was about all the people who had been turned into jokes for simply existing. I wish I could say I forgave him, but I haven't. Not fully. Forgiveness feels like something he hasn't earned yet. Maybe someday. But I did forgive myself. For staying silent too long. For doubting my own worth. For thinking I had to take cruelty quietly just to keep the peace. When I look back now, I don't see a meme or a scandal. I see a woman who finally stopped apologizing for being hurt. It's been almost a year now since everything happened. Sometimes I still catch people whispering when I walk into a store or the school parking lot. Not in a cruel way. More like they don't know what to say. I don't blame them. My story became a local storm. Everyone saw it. Everyone learned something from it, including me. I used to think humiliation was the worst thing that could happen to a person. That being laughed at, especially by people you trusted, could break you in ways you'd never recover from. But I learned something I never expected. Humiliation doesn't destroy you. Silence does. If I had stayed quiet, Tyler's jokes would have continued. More girls, more photos, more laughter at someone else's expense. By speaking up, I didn't just stand up for myself. I stopped a cycle. I've changed in ways I can't always explain. I don't smile as easily for cameras anymore, and I'm a little slower to trust. But I also don't shrink myself to make people comfortable. I've found strength in the very thing I was mocked for, my vulnerability. There are nights when I scroll back through my posts, not to relive the pain, but to remind myself how far I've come. I see that scared, shaking woman in her kitchen, trying to decide if telling the truth would make things worse. And I want to hug her, tell her she was right to speak. People sometimes ask if I regret tagging Linda, if I regret how public it all became. I don't, because sometimes the only way to make people see the truth is to hold a mirror right in front of them. I didn't ruin Tyler's life. He did that the day he chose to make someone's pain a punchline. Now when someone says it was just a joke, I ask them, who's laughing? And if anyone ever turns you into their joke, remember this. Your silence protects them. Your voice protects you.